Welcome to the Make Me Whole podcast. I'm your host, Josette Rosado, and it's time to talk getting past what's difficult, trusting our own abilities to do more, and keeping it that way. Okay, by now we probably are all COVID talked out. The pandemic, the pre-pandemic, the post-pandemic, how our lives have been affected. What is it that we all felt we dealt with? And I'm not minimizing anything that anyone has gone through, but as I've been running my therapy practice, I found in the last year, the largest group of individuals that come to see me aren't actually alone. They come as a couple. I can tell you that the number of people who've come to see me for couples work and help either making sense of saving or deciding to end their marriage has been larger than I could have ever anticipated, and more so than I've ever dealt with since becoming a therapist. It's made for some really interesting sessions, and I wanted to present some of the ideas that I bring to my clients, especially when they're trying to deal with the stress of their marriage. And starting off, the first thing I'm going to say is that the problems that couples have faced are about 90% communication issues. And what do I mean by that? I don't mean that there's screaming and yelling or that one person isn't talking to the other. I'm talking about the delivery of messages and how they're received. So my style of doing therapy is where I let the clients come in for their first session, let them present to me how it is that they normally interact with one another, and let them know at the end of the session that we'll be meeting individually. During those individual sessions, seeing one partner at a time, giving them the opportunity to vent, speak without being interrupted, and also learn how to listen, I feel that we've developed different styles on how to better express ourselves and get to the true meanings, the true issues that the couple needs to face. Okay, so what does some of my advice entail when it comes to my couples? One of the big ones is about dealing with small problems and making them into larger ones. Don't sweat the small stuff. If you've been married to your spouse for more than 6 months, let's say, you already know what irritates you about them. They might throw their clothes on the floor. Need I say underwear on the floor? Forget to bring the toilet seat down, not clean out the sink, see the floor needs to be swept and not take care of it. And I'm not just talking about my house, I promise. No, really. I have a very supportive spouse, and I'm very grateful for the ups and downs because I can appreciate the ups more than the downs. But I think when it comes to longevity and being with your partner for a really long time, you really have to know how to pick your battles. Everything doesn't have to be tragic. Everything doesn't have to be the end of your relationship with this person. We always tend to fight over these small things because we have our own preferences and our partner also has their own preferences. We sometimes don't see that they might have a preference and that preference is just as valid as ours. We need to be intentional and creative about the time that we spend with one another. So much energy is spent in complaining what's not right, what we need, what we have to fix. And I don't think we spend entirely enough time complimenting one another. There's this exercise that I do with my clients. I tell them to get a pad of sticky paper and they each get their own color. They take the sticky pad, and on it, they write something that they noticed about their spouse. And it could be the smallest thing. I noticed you cleaned out the sink. I noticed you took the dishes out of the sink. I noticed you said thank you. I noticed you said hello. All those different little things that can add up to so much more. And what they do is they put it in an area where the partner can see what they've written. And it's almost like a compliment to one another, so that you get into the practice of noticing those small things so they can build up to more. Now, this isn't a contest to see who gets the most stickies. What it is taking the time to be intentional about speaking to one another and making sure that you're seen and heard. Not enough people create date nights or keep to them. Well, we have kids. I don't want to hire a babysitter. I don't feel comfortable leaving them with someone else. Well, that's okay. One of my favorite creative date nights is where I set up an area where we're going to watch a movie and we can get all the fixings as if we're at the movie theater. Our surround sound comes on. Kids are probably in bed or doing something else. And we just spend that time with one another. It isn't about what you do or how much money you spend. It's about your intentions around what it is that you're bringing to your relationship. One of the best things that couples can do is reach out for help when you need it. Not all of us get the handbook on how to be a good wife or good husband, but sometimes we have people around us who can guide us with the things that would be helpful. Going to see a therapist, going to speak to your pastor, speaking to another couple who have been with one another for quite some time and might be helpful in giving you some insight on how to get through some of the hard things. See, it doesn't just have to be a pandemic that sets off the idea about what we have to do because we don't want to miss out, because we don't know that tomorrow's guaranteed. When you're in a serious and committed relationship, the importance is the quality, not the quantity, because that can never be determined. So don't ever think you're late in the game. If you're feeling like there's something that you can do to improve your relationship, to gain more access to that communication with your partner, get it done. Waiting around to see if something can change, if they will change, if there's some miracle that comes about that you guys could have a better relationship, that doesn't come on its own. Marriage is work, and it's work that's satisfying when it's done right. And when you can accept the good with the bad, when you can stand up for one another, when you can walk on this journey of life together. I know I have my husband's back as he has mine. And that didn't come easy. It came from lots of blood, sweat, and tears in 21 years. So I encourage you, if you feel like you want to make things better, take the time to do it. You'll be happy you did. There's another one in the books. Thank you so much for listening and supporting the podcast. I have really enjoyed doing it, and I plan to keep going strong. Reach out. You can find us on email at makemewhole@bossesofbliss.com. Find us on Facebook and Instagram at Bosses of Bliss, and on TikTok at Blissful Boss. Remember, complain less and do more. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.